Doing something different with the audio today. If you don't like it, I don't care. A few months ago, I made a video on the strongest auto attack. It was pretty good, and you guys seem to like it, but what else is there in League besides auto attacks? Abilities, obviously. Today we're doing the strongest ability, and going into lots of detail, including resistance considerations. You guys complain a lot that I don't account for resistances in my other videos, so this time we're pulling out the full analysis. You also get a real build to do in-game with friends at the end. Before we start, make sure to subscribe so I can continue making these, and if you want to support me even more, get a membership. For $1 a month you get custom emotes and a badge next to your YouTube username. I'll probably add more perks and higher tiers in future videos, so keep an eye out for that. Now, let's continue the video. We're going to establish the rules for the challenge now. Pay attention to these. They will come up later. In my strongest auto attack video, you guys commented things that were specifically disallowed by the rules. I swear to God, if I see another goddamn comment where you say something against the rules of the challenge, I will kill myself. No, we can't do that. We can't put that on YouTube. First, one champion will be doing the damage. You can have allies there, but they can't do any damage, only provide buffs and such. 2. This must be fast. If it's not near instantaneous, we don't really care about it. We can use abilities with long charge times though. This mostly refers to bleed and burn effects. 3. The target will be squishy. This means no bonus resistances, which is about 108 armor and 63 MR. 4. No HP scaling damage. This bans things like Tahm Kench's Devour and Eclipse's bonus damage. Rule 5. No infinite scaling. You guys don't seem to understand this one, because you keep bringing it up in videos where I say no infinite scaling. So I'm going to give you a few examples to help you out. Heartsteel, Hubris, Gathering Storm, Smolder, Nasus, Veigar, Grasp of the Undying, Dark Harvest, Senna, and Thresh are all examples of things that are banned from the video. Do not comment them. I'm going insane. It's like your brains are a sieve and all the information is falling out the bottom. I don't understand how you do this. How do you fucking do this? 6. Lady Luck is on our side. If our ability depends on a crit, we will assume we crit. We'll also be assuming optimal conditions like distance and health thresholds. This is my video, I get to decide what the starting conditions are for the challenge. If we require specific conditions, those conditions will be met. 7. No executes. The 999 damage is a lie, it doesn't actually do that much damage. Okay, now that the nerd stuff is out of the way, who's our one-shot champion? First, we need to figure out what our one-shot ability will look like. There are about 170 champions in the game, each with 4 abilities and a passive. We want high AP or AD scalings because items give lots of stats. Usually, bigger number equals better ability, but synergies are important. For example, Darius's Noxian Guillotine has pretty bad scaling, but it's increased by 20% per stack of hemorrhage on the target, for up to 100% increased damage. This, combined with the bonus AD from his passive, makes this ability very strong. We also want to consider physical or magic damage, keeping in mind things like damage amplification, resistance reduction, and stat buffs. We also want to decide between AP and AD. AP is good because you can get lots of AP from your items, much more than you can AD. AD is good because most abilities that can crit have good AD scalings, and you can get a lot more armor pen than magic pen. There were a lot of champions we considered for this, Evelynn, Misfortune, and Gangplank to name a few, but in the end we decided on Nunu. Nunu's a strange champion because he can go tank or AP and still be good. This is because for some reason he has extremely high AP ratios, up to 150% on his snowball and 300% on his ultimate. We're going to use his ultimate, Absolute Zero, for the one-shot, since it's one of the highest AP ratios on a single ability. Yes, I allowed long charge time so I could use this ability, so what? And no, Tibbers doesn't count, even with its extremely high AP ratio, because you have to stand next to the stupid bear for 45 seconds, and that's way too long. Since we picked magic damage, I can talk about MR values now. Most champions at level 18 will have 67 or less MR, except for Meganar, Silas, Akali, Talon, and Dr. Mundo. So just to be sure, we'll set our target's MR to 67. This accounts for 97% of the roster. And if you don't think this is comprehensive enough, you can calculate the extra MR values yourself. The rest of us are going to move on now. Okay, there's a lot to get through here, so I'm going to try and make it quick. First, we're going to build some AP. The 6 items I've picked are Horizon, Ludens, Rabadons, Medjais, Shadowflame, and Storm Surge. And I know this is the mathematically correct build because I made a Python script to check. These items deal bonus damage on spell hits, and these items just give you lots of AP. Next, we'll cover runes. The best one is First Strike for the damage increase, since we don't have the time to proc PTA. We want Axiom Arcanist, Triple Tonic, Absolute Focus, and Double Adaptive Force. Now onto the neutral buffs. We want 4 Infernal Drakes and the Infernal Soul for 12% increased AP, and the Explosion. Baron buff gives up to 80 AP, and Ruinous Atakan increases the strength of all epic monster buffs by 25%. We also want item effects from allies, like Abyssal Mask, Bloodsong, Bloodletter, Malignance, and Staff of Flowing Water, and effects from allied kits, like a Mumu passive, Zoe E, Vladimir ult, and Ornn upgrade. Also, we take an Elixir of Sorcery with us. Elixir of Force too, if you're a pedant. I will not be accused of forgetting the potions this time. If I calculated this all correctly, which isn't likely, we will deal over 15,000 damage with a single ability. Our build nets us 1,396 AP, 95% increased damage, and over 2,900 bonus true damage from various sources. The astute among you may have noticed that I use Zoe E instead of Evelyn W, and you might be wondering, why would I do that? Zoe only has 30% MR Shred, and Evelyn has 45%. The reason is that Zoe's E detonates when the target is woken up, dealing extra damage that caps at the initial damage of her E. If we maximize her AP to 1,330, when the target wakes up it will take a massive amount of bonus true damage, specifically 828 true damage. This doesn't break rule 1, because the damage is credited to whoever wakes up the target. So if Nunu wakes them up, then the damage is credited to him. Now let's look at our MR calculations. Our target will have 67 magic resist. We reduce it by a flat 10 from Malignance, then 51% from our shred effects, then a flat 30 from our magic pen. And finally we round up to 0, because flat magic pen cannot reduce MR below 0. Because you can only add resistances to target dummies in multiples of 10, we have to test against 70 MR, but the resulting magic resist is still 0, so it works anyway. I've done the extremely difficult task of coordinating 5 people to pull this off, so I know it works. If you don't believe me and want to do it yourself, follow these steps. First, set up your team with their items and runes. You need to take these items on these champions, and I recommend you put them in these roles, but you can change that up if you want. Zoe also needs to take Triple Tonic, Absolute Focus, Water Walking, and Double Adaptive Force to increase her AP even more. During the game, Ornn will upgrade an AP item on both Nunu and Zoe. Do not pick one with mixed stats, because we only want AP to be increased. Also, try not to build damage on the other champions so we don't pop the target. Second, we get objectives, a lot of them. We need 4 Infernal Drakes, so skip the first 2 if they aren't Infernal. If either of them are, FF15 and queue up again. We also want Baron and Ruinous Atakan, so you need to fight a lot early game. 3. Set up your team in the killing spot. Nunu and Zoe drink their Elixir of Sorcery and Elixir of Force, then buy their last item and join everyone in the killing bush. Since this is optimal conditions, get your target to stand right at the edge of the ult. Now this next bit requires precise timing, so before you try it in a game you should hop into a practice tool with a few friends. First, Amumu ults the target. Nunu starts channeling his ult now. Amumu then Qs into range and uses W to stack Bloodletter's Curse. After Amumu goes in, Zoe uses E to sleep the target for 1.4 seconds. Step 5. Before the target falls asleep, Vladimir uses ult on them. Vlad then autos to proc Bloodsong, and uses Locket on Nunu and Zoe to proc Staff of Flowing Water. Ornn just stands there like a goober because Abyssal Mask is an aura effect, so he doesn't need to do anything. By this time, Zoe E should have slept the target. Step 6. Nunu ult finishes its channel. Congratulations, you have killed everyone. Is this build achievable in a real game? No. The setup is so complicated, even I struggle to get it done. And I had 5 people in a VC as well as a stationary target. If you want to do it for real, I've modified the build a bit, removing the more dicey items. Building them in this order is good, but it doesn't really matter. You can also ignore some of the rules for the runes, because it's more fun to build Dark Harvest and Gathering Storm. If you want to make this strategy a bit easier, you can try out control ward fishing, a great tactic I learned from Darkmane videos. First you control ward just outside the bush so it looks like you misplaced a ward. Then you sit in the bush, maybe with a few teammates, and wait for some idiot to come by. As soon as they start attacking it, they'll be standing still, so you can one-shot them. Thanks for making it to the end. I've been trying to write my scripts so they're a bit more natural for me to say. Hopefully I don't sound as robotic as I usually do. Also, thanks to HEROLD'S for coming up with the idea for this video. He contacted me a while back asking for help on a video idea, which is pretty cool honestly. It's nice to be recognized for making no contribution to society whatsoever and just making League videos. And I had a lot of fun talking to people in his community about the video, so head over there and give him a follow so he can't deny being a content creator anymore. I will not tolerate the slander against my being. It is impossible for League players to have a spouse. He knows this. Anyway, if you liked the video, leave a like, subscribe if you want to see more content from me, and join the Discord if you haven't yet. Thanks again for watching. We'll accelerate time a little bit.
There's 2 scuttle crabs.
What? How did that happen?
Wait, that's hilarious.
No, keep them alive, keep them alive. We can't kill them.
If I spawn another top sides, can you spawn top sides?
Did the one
battles?
from... Oh, is that what happened? I thought like
Maybe.
the one from bot side moved, like it migrated. Speaking of migration, I gotta kill these guys again. What were you doing over there?